Deep in space, the alien research ship Starseeker drifted slowly through the darkness. Captain Zex, a tall blue-skinned alien, stood at the bridge window. His 4 eyes blinked as he watched his crew scan another ancient ruin on the planet below. "Captain, we found something different this time," said First Officer Mira through the ship's comm system. Her voice trembled with excitement. "These ruins, they're not like anything we've seen before." The ruins sat silent on the dusty planet's surface. Strange symbols covered the metal walls, different from any known alien language. The research team moved carefully through the old buildings, their scanners humming softly. "The metal here," Mira continued, "it's stronger than anything in our database. Even after thousands of years, it hasn't broken down." She touched the wall, and her scanner beeped loudly. "And Captain, there's still power running through these walls." Captain Zex leaned forward, his antenna twitching. In 300 years of space exploration, they had never found technology this advanced. "Any idea who built it?" he asked. "No, sir. The symbols don't match any known species." "But," Mira paused, her scanner beeping again, "we found images. They look like beings we've never seen before. They stand on 2 legs, have 2 arms, and—" She stopped suddenly. "What is it, First Officer?" "Sir, according to these readings, this place is over 50,000 years old. That's impossible. No civilization could build something that would last this long." Captain Zex felt a chill run down his spine. Every space-faring race knew the stories. Tales of a powerful species that disappeared long ago. Some called them the First Ones, others the Lost Race. But no one had ever found proof they existed. "Send me the images," he ordered. The pictures appeared on his screen. Strange creatures looked back at him. Beings with soft-looking skin, no scales or fur, and only 2 eyes. They wore some kind of protective suits and held tools more advanced than anything he'd seen before. "Captain," the ship's computer suddenly announced, "I found a match in the deepest part of our history files. These beings, they're called humans." The bridge went silent. Humans. The name appeared in ancient warnings, in stories told to children about powerful beings who could build incredible things and fight with unimaginable strength. But they were just stories, weren't they? "Sir," Mira's voice cracked with fear, "something's happening. The walls, they're glowing." Red lights started flashing across the ruins. A deep humming sound filled the air, growing louder by the second. "Get out of there," Captain Zex shouted. "Everyone back to the ship now." The research team ran, their feet kicking up dust as they raced back to their shuttle. Behind them, the ruins pulsed with energy, the strange symbols now glowing bright blue. "Captain," the computer warned, "I'm detecting a massive energy buildup. It's like nothing I've ever seen." The shuttle lifted off just as beams of light shot from the ruins, reaching up into space. Captain Zex watched in horror as the beams locked onto his ship. "Engines to full power," he ordered. "Get us out of here." But it was too late. The energy beams caught the Starseeker in a web of light. Alarms screamed across the bridge as the ship's systems began to shut down. A message flashed across every screen in strange symbols that slowly changed into words they could read. "Unauthorized access DTCT. Human defense system activated. Lethal force authorized." "No," Captain Zex shouted. "We mean no harm. We're just researchers." The light grew brighter, and the ship's hull began to crack. In his last moments, Captain Zex realized the truth. Humans weren't just stories. They were real, and they had left behind guardians to protect their secrets. The Starseeker exploded in a flash of blue light, leaving only scattered debris floating in space. On the planet below, the ruins went dark again, waiting for the next visitors to discover their deadly secret. But across the galaxy, other research ships picked up the energy surge. Soon, everyone would know. The legendary humans had left their mark on the galaxy, and this was just the beginning of their story. Deep in space, in places no one had explored for thousands of years, other human ruins began to wake up. The forgotten legends were about to return, and the galaxy would never be the same. News of the Star Seekers' destruction spread quickly across the galaxy. In the Great Library of Zentera, the oldest library in known space, Chief Researcher Vix worked late into the night. Her scales glowed faintly blue in the dark as she searched through ancient records. "Computer, show me everything about humans," she commanded, her six-fingered hands moving across the holographic controls. The computer hummed. "Warning. Accessing restricted files. These records are marked as extreme danger, high priority." Vix's heart raced. In 30 years of research, she'd never seen that warning level. The screen flickered, and an ancient recording appeared. The being in the recording looked old, its tentacles gray with age. "This is High Admiral Krell of the Spiral Alliance." The recording began. "If you are watching this, you have encountered human technology. This message is both a warning and a plea. Do not underestimate them. We did, and we nearly lost everything." Vix leaned closer as the Admiral continued. Humans seemed peaceful at first. They were newcomers to space travel, their ships primitive compared to ours. The Alliance Council decided to restrict their expansion. We thought they would accept our authority. The Admiral's tentacles trembled. We were wrong. The recording showed battle footage. Small human ships faced massive Alliance battlecruisers. The Alliance ships fired first, their weapons looking powerful enough to destroy moons. But the human ships didn't explode. They survived. And then, by the stars, Vix whispered. The human vessels transformed, parts shifting and changing like living metal. Their weapons cut through Alliance shields like they weren't there. In minutes, the mighty Alliance fleet became burning wreckage. Humans had hidden their true technology. Admiral Krell continued. They didn't build warships because they didn't need to. Every human vessel, from their smallest probe to their largest transport, could become a weapon. But that wasn't what scared us most. New footage played. A single human in a damaged spacesuit, floating in space. An Alliance rescue team brought them aboard, thinking they were saving the helpless creature. "The human woke up in our medical bay," the Admiral said, "when they learned we had attacked their colony. One human, just one." His voice shook. "They took control of our entire ship in less than an hour. Their neural connection to technology was beyond anything we had seen. They could interface with any computer system, any machine." Vix's computer suddenly sparked. New symbols appeared on her screen. The same strange markings found in the ruins. They shifted, forming words. DHTCTing an euthorises de CTS to human historical data. Security protocols engaged. No, wait. Vix tried to shut down her system, but it was too late. Across the library, every screen lit up with the same message. But instead of an attack, a new recording started playing. This one showed a different being, a human. To those seeking knowledge of humanity, the human said, their face serious but kind, "We understand your curiosity, but you should know the truth. We didn't leave because we were defeated. We left to protect you." The message continued. The Alliance's attack taught us something terrible. Our power was too great. When threatened, our technology, our skills, they could destroy civilizations. So we made a choice. We went into hiding, scattered our people across the galaxy in secret places. We sleep, we watch, and we wait. Wait for what? Vix asked aloud. As if answering her question, a deep rumble shook the library. Through the grand windows, she saw it, a massive structure breaking through the clouds. A space station, bigger than any she'd ever seen, its design clearly human. The station's surface rippled like liquid metal, ancient machinery awakening. A voice boomed across the planet's communication systems. Human outpost station Alpha He No W O N line. Awakening sequence INITIATD. The Celi PARS will soon orituarn. In her research chamber, Vix realized she was witnessing history. The humans weren't just powerful warriors, they were guardians. And now, after 50,000 years, they were coming back. But as she watched the station power up, one question burned in her mind. What threat could be so terrible that it made the mighty humans hide for all these years? She had a feeling the galaxy would soon find out. The human space station Alpha hung in space like a shining star, its surface constantly shifting and changing. Ships from every known species gathered to watch, keeping their distance after hearing about the Star Seeker's fate. Inside the Great Library, Vix worked with scientists from across the galaxy, trying to understand the station's strange signals. The human message kept repeating in thousands of languages. The sleepers stir, the watchers move. The time of return is near. Look at this. Young scientist Krell pointed at his screen. His antenna wiggled with excitement. The station's energy readings, they're matching signals coming from 50 different points in the galaxy. Vix studied the data. Her scales turned pale green with shock. Those aren't just signals, she whispered. They're wake-up calls. Suddenly, every screen in the library changed. A new message appeared, but this time, they saw a human face. The being looked different from the ancient recordings. Their skin now had a slight metallic shine. Their eyes glowed with tiny lights. To all species of the galaxy, the human said, "We owe you an explanation. 50,000 years ago, we faced an enemy that threatened to destroy everything. Not just lives or planets, but reality itself." The human's image flickered, showing scenes of an ancient war. Strange dark ships that seemed to swallow light itself, worlds disappearing into nothingness. "We called them the Void Hunters," the human continued. "They came from between realities, consuming everything they touched. Our technology, our ability to merge with machines, made us the only ones who could fight them, but we couldn't defeat them completely." The message showed humans fighting these dark ships, their bodies glowing with energy as they connected with their machines. But even their incredible power wasn't enough. "We found a way to force them back, to seal them away between realities. But the seal wouldn't last forever. So we made a plan. We built hidden bases across the galaxy, placed our people in special sleep chambers, and waited. When the seal began to weaken, we would wake up." Vix's computer beeped urgently. Energy spike detected. "Something's happening at coordinates 227 Mark 44. Everyone watched as a massive structure rose from beneath an empty moon's surface. It wasn't a base or a bunker. It was a ship bigger than most cities. Its surface looked like liquid metal, just like the station. "A sleeper ship," Krell breathed. "They're really waking up." More signals appeared on their screens. All across the galaxy, similar ships were emerging from hidden places, under oceans, inside asteroids, within gas giants. Each one held thousands of sleeping humans. But when the first sleep chamber opened on the nearest ship, something was wrong. It was empty. New alarms blared across every system. The human in the message smiled, but now it looked worried. "If you're seeing this, something has gone wrong. Some of us have already awakened early. And if we're not in our sleep chambers, it means..." The message cut off. Through the library windows, Vix saw something that made her blood freeze. A patch of space was turning completely black, swallowing the stars. The human station's voice boomed one last time. "ALERT, Void Hunter Emergency DTETTED. They HAVRE2RNED of SCAHUL. All species are a device to PRIPRFOR." The message stopped. In the silence that followed, Vix realized why some humans had awakened early. They hadn't waited for the signal. They had sensed the enemy returning and were already out there, somewhere, preparing for war. On her screen, a single line of text appeared in human writing. "Find us. Help us wake the others, before it's too late." The galaxy's greatest legend had returned, but now they needed help. And as the darkness between the stars grew larger, Vix knew they didn't have much time. 3 days after the human station's warning, strange ships appeared at the edges of known space. They didn't look like the ancient human vessels from the records. These ships seemed to be made of living crystal, glowing with internal light. On board the research vessel Truth Seeker, Vix and her team watched the approaching ships with a mixture of fear and wonder. After the library incident, the Council had appointed her as head of the Human Contact Initiative. "Those can't be human ships," Krall said, his antenna twitching nervously. "They look nothing like." He stopped as one of the crystal ships changed its shape, parts flowing like water, until it looked like an exact copy of their own research vessel. That's how they survived, Vix realized. They didn't just hide in sleek chambers. They evolved, changed, adapted. The largest crystal ship, almost transparent in the starlight, sent out a signal. But instead of coming through their communication systems, the message appeared directly in their minds. "We are the Wanderers," a calm voice echoed in their thoughts. "Once we were called human. Now, we are something more. Something different, and we need your help." The ship's crystal surface became clear, revealing its crew. They looked almost human, but their skin had patches of crystal, and light pulsed through their veins like flowing data. 50,000 years of partial consciousness changes a species, the voice continued. While most of our kind slept in their chambers, some of us chose to merge with our ships, to stay awake, to watch. We became living sensors, spreading through the galaxy, waiting for signs of the Void Hunters. Suddenly, all ships' alarms blazed to life. A massive section of space, bigger than a solar system, had gone completely dark. "They're here," the Wanderer's voice turned urgent. "Much sooner than we expected. The seal is breaking faster than our calculations predicted." Through the darkness, something emerged. It wasn't a ship. It was the absence of everything, a moving hole in reality itself. Where it passed, stars simply ceased to exist. "Now," the Wanderer commanded. The crystal ships moved in perfect formation. Beams of pure light shot from their hulls, creating a glowing net around the void. But instead of attacking, they seemed to be measuring it. "We can't fight them yet," the voice explained. "Not until we wake the others. But these void breaches will keep appearing, growing larger each time. We need your people's help." A stream of data flowed into the Truth Seeker's computers, maps showing thousands of hidden human bases across the galaxy. "Our sleeping kin are scattered too widely. We Wanderers are too few to reach them all in time. Each base has defenses like the one that destroyed your Star Seeker, but they will recognize your ships if you carry our signal. We need you to help us wake them." Vix watched as more patches of darkness appeared in distant parts of space. "Why trust us?" she asked. "After what the Alliance did to your people." The crystal ship pulsed with colors. Inside, the Wanderer smiled, their crystalline features catching the light. "Because 50,000 years ago, we had to choose between vengeance and protection. We chose to protect. Now we ask you to make the same choice." The void creature suddenly surged forward, swallowing an uninhabited planet whole. The crystal ships strained to contain it, their light barriers barely holding. "We offer an alliance," the Wanderer continued, their mental voice strained from the effort. "Not built on fear like the old one, but on need, on hope. We have evolved beyond our old forms, but we cannot save the galaxy alone. Will you help us wake our sleeping warriors?" Before Vix could answer, space itself screamed. More void breaches were opening. Dark shapes moved within them, things that shouldn't exist. The Wanderer sent one final message: "Choose quickly. The Void Hunters remember their ancient defeat. This time, they won't stop until they've erased every trace of life from this reality." Vix looked at her crew, saw the fear and determination in their eyes. 50,000 years ago, Humans faced this threat alone. This time would be different. She opened a channel to all ships in range. "This is Chief Researcher Vix. All vessels capable of long-range travel, prepare to receive coordinates. We have sleeping giants to wake up." Deep in an ocean moon's core, Vix's team had found their first human sleep chamber. The ancient facility hummed with power, its walls flowing like liquid metal just like the Wanderer ships. But something was different here. "These readings don't match our charts," Krell said, checking his instruments for the 5th time. "This facility, it's not just a sleeping chamber, it's something else." Before them, in a massive circular room, thousands of sleep pods lined the walls. But at the center stood something impossible, a perfect cube of what looked like solid darkness, floating in midair. A crystalline figure materialized beside them, making everyone jump. It was a wanderer, their bodies shifting between solid and transparent forms. "You found it," the wanderer said, their voice filled with awe. "The first archive." The cube pulsed, recognizing the wanderer's presence. Streams of light shot out, forming a holographic display around them. It showed scenes from human history, but not the ones they expected. "The truth about the Void Hunters," the wanderer explained. "What they really are. Why they hunt us." The images shifted, showing ancient humans making a discovery. The ability to reshape reality itself. But they weren't the first to find this power. "The Void Hunters were like us once," the wanderer continued. "A species that evolved too far, too fast. They found they could bend space, time, and matter. But they went too far. They became living holes in reality, consuming everything to fuel their evolution." New alarms blared. Above the moon, 3 void breaches had opened. The facility's defenses activated, layers of energy shields forming. "But that's not the real secret," the wanderer said, touching the dark cube. "Show them." The hologram changed again. Now it showed humans fighting the Void Hunters, but not with ships or weapons. They were using their minds, reaching out through technology to touch reality itself. "We discovered we could do what they did," the wanderer explained. "But we learned to do it without losing our humanity. The ships, the living metal, the evolution you see in us wanderers. It was all preparation." Vix understood suddenly. "You're not just waking up soldiers," she gasped. "You're waking up reality shapers." The facility shook as the void creatures attacked the shields above. The wanderer's crystal body glowed brighter. "Each sleeping human carries a piece of the knowledge, the power," they said. "Apart, we can only watch and wait. Together," their eyes glowed, "together we can rewrite the laws of space itself." The sleeping pods began to activate, their surfaces becoming transparent. Inside each one, a human floated in glowing liquid. Their bodies were changing as they woke, parts of them shifting between flesh and energy. "But we made a mistake," the wanderer admitted. "We thought we had more time. The knowledge in this cube, it shows the truth. The Void Hunters aren't attacking early. We woke up late." Above them, the void creatures broke through the first shield layer. Emergency lights flashed everywhere. One of the sleep pods opened. A human stepped out, their body glowing with the same energy they'd seen in the ancient recordings. But they looked scared. "How many?" the awakened human asked, their voice hoarse from centuries of sleep. 300 breaches detected across the galaxy, the wanderer reported, more opening every hour. "How many of us are awake?" "Less than 1,000, scattered across 50 sectors." The human closed their eyes, energy crackling around them. "Not enough. Even with the wanderers, even with our new allies." They touched the dark cube. "We need more time." "Time," Vix said suddenly, "or space." Everyone turned to look at her. She pointed at her readings. "These void breaches, they're not random. They're forming a pattern across the galaxy. If we guided them, use your facility's defense systems to herd them." The human's eyes widened. The wanderer's crystal form pulsed with sudden hope. "Create a controlled breach," the human whispered. Big enough to trap them, small enough to contain, not to destroy them, but to delay them, the Wanderer finished. Give us time to wake more sleepers. Another shield layer broke. The void creatures were almost through, but now they had a plan. A dangerous, impossible plan. The awakened human turned to Vix, their eyes glowing with power. Your people would need to coordinate across the entire galaxy. One mistake. We'll do it, Vix said firmly. 50,000 years ago, you chose to protect us. Now let us protect you while you wake up. The human smiled, reached out both hands. In one, pure energy swirled. In the other, streams of data flowed. Then let's teach you, they said, how to reshape reality. The plan was working, but at a terrible cost. Across the galaxy, thousands of ships from every species flew in precise formations, herding the void breaches into a massive spiral pattern. Each lost ship left a gap in the line, and each gap meant another section of space consumed by darkness. In the command center of the first archive, Vix watched the tactical display with horror and hope. Her scales had turned almost white from exhaustion. Breach pattern at 67% completion, Krull reported, his antenna drooping with fatigue. But we've lost contact with sectors 7 through 13. The awakened human, who had told them to call them Alex, stood in the center of the room. Energy coursed through their body, connecting them to hundreds of systems at once. Next to them, the Wanderer's crystal form pulsed with streaming data. The other facilities report 40% of sleepers now awake, the Wanderer announced. But the void creatures are learning, adapting. They've started targeting our wake-up signals. Suddenly, the dark cube from the archive flashed. New information scrolled across all screens. Alex's eyes widened. No, they whispered. No, that's not possible. What is it? Vix asked, dreading the answer. The Void Hunters, Alex said, their voice shaking. They're not just following our pattern. They're completing it. They want us to make the breach. The tactical display showed the truth. The void creatures were now moving in perfect synchronization, filling in gaps in the spiral on their own. But why would they? Krull started. A massive explosion of darkness cut him off. On the display, an entire sector of space vanished. When it reappeared, something was different. The stars were wrong. The planets were changed. They're not trying to stop us, the Wanderer realized. They're helping us tear open reality, but not to trap them. To let something else in, Alex finished. The dark cube pulsed again, projecting images of things that hurt to look at. Massive shapes moving between realities, making the Void Hunters look tiny in comparison. The hunters aren't the predators, Alex said quietly. They're the bait, the food, running from something bigger, and we're about to open the door. More explosions of darkness, more sections of space returning change. Wrong. Stop the pattern. Vix shouted into the fleet comm. All ships break formation. The trap is meant for us. Too late. The spiral was nearly complete. The Void Hunters moved faster now, purposefully, their dark forms almost eager. We can't stop it, the Wanderer said. The breach will open. Reality itself is starting to tear. Alex stood straighter, their body glowing brighter. Then we changed the plan. We're not going to close the breach anymore. They turned to Vix. We're going to hold it open. That's suicide, Krull shouted. No, Alex smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It's an ambush. The Void Hunters want to let their predators in. Fine. But first, they touched the dark cube. Power surged through the facility. In sleep chambers across the galaxy, the remaining humans began to wake all at once. We show them why humanity didn't just learn to reshape reality. Alex's form started to shift, becoming something between flesh and energy. We learned to rule it. The Wanderer's crystal body resonated with the same frequency. The sleepers understand. They're all accepting the emergency wake-up. The transformation will be painful, but we'll survive, Alex said. We always survive. They turned to Vix. Get your ships out of here, beyond the spiral. What's about to happen? Space itself will scream. Vix stood her ground. We started this together. We'll finish it together. Above them, reality began to tear open. But as the void creatures rushed to the breach, they found something waiting for them. Thousands of newly awakened humans, their bodies transformed by emergency protocols, power radiating from them like newborn stars. And behind them, every species in the galaxy, their ships arrayed in battle formation. The Void Hunters had thought they were herding their prey. Instead, they had walked into a killing ground. Now the only question was, when the real monsters came through the breach, would this united galaxy be strong enough to face them? Looking at the transformed humans, their bodies radiating reality-shaping power, Vix thought they might have a chance. After all, humanity hadn't spent 50,000 years sleeping. They'd spent it evolving. Reality screamed. There was no other way to describe the sound that echoed through every mind, across every frequency, as the breach tore fully open. Through it came shapes that denied reason. Cosmic predators that dwarfed solar systems, beings that ate space itself. In the command center, now transformed into a swirling vortex of energy and data, Alex stood at the center of a web of power. Their body had become pure light, only vaguely humanoid. Around them, holographic displays showed thousands of transformed humans taking similar forms. "They're so beautiful," Vix whispered, watching the cosmic giants emerge. "And so terrible." "Everything powerful is both," the Wanderer said, their crystal form now integrated with the facility's systems. "That's why humanity chose to sleep. We saw ourselves becoming like them." The first cosmic giant reached out with appendages made of broken physics, easily swatting aside void hunters like insects. But then it touched something else, a barrier made of pure golden light, formed by hundreds of transformed humans working together. The giant recoiled. In all its eons of existence, nothing had ever stopped it before. Alex's voice echoed through all communications, but it wasn't quite human anymore. "Now, execute Pattern Omega." The gathered fleet of every species moved as one. But they weren't firing weapons. They were transmitting frequencies, creating a resonance pattern that made space itself vibrate. The transformed humans used this pattern, weaving it into their light. The frequency pattern, Krull realized, checking his readings. It's not just noise. It's music. He was right. The combined emissions of thousands of ships, guided by human knowledge, had created a symphony of physics, a song that made reality itself dance to their tune. The cosmic giants didn't understand at first. They had never encountered organized resistance, never faced prey that could reshape the fundamental laws they thought they ruled. The humans had not just learned to survive in the spaces between realities, they had learned to conduct them like an orchestra. "Second movement," Alex commanded. Their light form expanded, merging with other humans nearby. More and more joined, until a new giant stood in space, one made not of broken physics, but of united consciousness and pure will. The Wanderer's voice rang out. "All ships, emit final frequency pattern. The resonance will peak in 3, 2, 1. Space itself began to crystallize around the giants. The same technology that let the Wanderers change form, that powered the human sleep chambers, now rewrote the laws of physics in a bubble around their enemies. A cosmic giant tried to break free, its impossible form straining against the new rules being written into space itself. But it didn't understand what it was really fighting. 50,000 years, Alex's voice echoed, now speaking through the merged human consciousness. 50,000 years we spent not just sleeping, but dreaming. And in dreams, we learned to do this. The crystallized space began to fold, creating a new kind of geometry that even the cosmic giants couldn't comprehend. They had evolved to break physics, but humanity had evolved to rewrite it. "The breach," Vix shouted. It's changing. The tear in reality was no longer a ragged wound. Under the guidance of transformed humans, it had become a perfect circle, its edges smooth as glass. Through it, they could see other realities, infinite possibilities. They're not trying to close it, Crowell understood suddenly. They're making it permanent, controlled. Alex's merged form glowed brighter. A door can be used by anyone, even those who think they own the spaces between worlds. The crystallized face continued to fold, creating a tunnel through realities. The cosmic giants found themselves being pulled into it, their vast forms compressed by laws of physics they didn't know could exist. But what about the void hunters? Vix asked. They're still everywhere. The Wanderer's crystal form pulsed. Watch. The transformed humans began to sing, not with voices, but with energy and light and will. The void hunters stopped their attacks, listening. In their cores, they remembered they had once been like these beings, before fear of the giants drove them to become living weapons. Join us, the human consciousness called to them, not as hunters, not as weapons, as guardians. One by one, the void hunters changed. Their darkness became translucent, then crystalline, similar to the Wanderers. They had found a new way to evolve. The last cosmic giant raged against the crystal tunnel, but it was too late. Reality had new rules here, written by beings who had spent 50 millennia learning to dream them. When it was over, when the tunnel was sealed with the giants trapped inside, Alex's form separated back into individuals. The transformed humans dimmed their light, many reverting to partially physical forms. They were tired, but victorious. What now? Vix asked, looking at the permanent doorway they had created between realities. Alex, now looking almost human again, except for their glowing eyes, smiled. Now we do what humanity does best. We explore. We learn. And this time, they looked at the gathered fleet of all species, at the crystalline forms of reformed void hunters, at the Wanderers pulsing with shared victory. This time, we don't do it alone. Above them, the doorway between realities shimmered with infinite possibility. Humanity had returned not just as warriors or guardians, but as teachers. They had learned to shape reality without losing their humanity, and now they could show others the way. The legends hadn't just returned. They had evolved into something entirely new, and the galaxy would never be the same again.